Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you, Lana. Thank you, everyone. So good to see you all. Thank you, Adrian, for coming today too. Beth, everybody. It's so awkward because actually we were with Mateus, Marley, Mari, just a couple of hours ago. We were all together. And now it's so weird to come on board and everybody's on the screen again. So it looks like we're living those two ways of relating, but it's awkward. It looks like we have different dimensions all mixed up. So I was telling Marcelo, I was like, this is so weird. We were hugging each other a couple of hours ago. And now we see and we just have to say like, hello, hello, how are you? So it's weird. But at the same time, I'm very happy to be here as well, to come on board and start living a little bit more about the grassroots level. Today we had a wonderful meeting with Mari. We're not sure if she's going to be able to come in, but at the same time, it's very hard, right? The situation of indigenous people, not just in Brazil, but so many different places. And it's a very special state, which we had a lot of opposite candidate who was the winner of our president. So it's like a very delicate space for talking this type of things. So today I had to run a little bit and had a little shower because I need to clean a little bit of this water, of this energy that is not really kind of let's get alive, right? And get back. So thank you so much for everybody. Sorry for a couple of minutes late. And at the same time, I would like to invite for today's meeting for Marcelo to have our check-in. And then right after we can just go with our presentations, and after open up to if you have any questions or any topic that is needed, we can come along.
Olá, tudo bem?
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is well. I'm going to speak Portuguese. And I bring to you today in our check-in the image of this weaving, of this cloth that we've been weaving together, this fabric, and this weaving is done in ourselves. And this fabric is moving inside of us, and that makes us create and conceive of the baskets that we have. The baskets are here in us. He's speaking Spanish now. And so I would like to invite to a reflection. I'll go to Portuguese.
E depois de hacer esta pregunta, eu gostaria de invitá-los a hablar.
And after doing this question, I would like to invite you to talk.
Antes de hablar, solamente
But before I talk,
quedarnos por minuto. Después de la pregunta.
We are going to keep silent for a minute after I ask the question. And after that minute of silence, we will see who wants to get started. The question is, what I feel and perceive that it starts with me. What is the process that it starts with me, and I would like to share with you here.
So what happens in me in this cloth or fabric? And how do I feel this weaving that happens inside of me that I would like to share here? It can be a concrete expression of something that happened to you, or it can be connected to a project or the projects that were moving along, or only something that's going on inside of you in this weaving or sewing of this fabric that is manifested in this space here. So I'd like to ask you for a minute before we start talking, okay?
silencio y después ahora la pregunta, no hemos empezado ainda todavía a hablar, pero la pregunta es respecto este tecido, algo que yo estoy a tecer en mí y que ahora está muy vivo y puede ser respecto a algo que tiene a ver con el canasto, pero también algo interior o exterior a ti y que gustaría de hablar de este tecer, cómo se manifiesta ahora. ¿Sí?
Eu acho que eu posso comentar.
I think I can comment.
Eu acabei de chegar em casa
I've just gotten
e
home.
aqui preparei suplemento
I got here, I
e
prepared
já
my
vim para frente do computador.
drink and I came to the
Porque eu tava
computer
com a
because
Mari,
I
o
was with
Michele,
Mari,
o
Wilson,
Marcelo.
Michele, Marli, and
Não sei se eu
Marcelo.
esqueci de mais alguém.
I don't know if I forgot
Lá
anyone.
em Joinville.
In Joinville, I was there with them.
A gente estava
It's a
criando, né,
city outside of Curitiba.
essa
And
relação de
so we
conexão
were
e
creating
confiança
this
que a gente
relationship of
tem
trust
estabelecido
and
com a Mari,
connection
essa relação de
that we
confiança e
have,
conexão que a gente tanto fala.
deepening this
E
relationship
foi
of
muito
which
bom
we talk so much about. And
ver
it
a
was
Mari,
very
ver o
good to
Wilson,
see
ver a
Mari and
Marli,
Wilson and Marli
e tá compartilhando também
and
2 dias aí com o Marcelo e
sharing
com a Michelle.
2 days with
Eu acho
Marcelo
que
and
isso é uma
Michele.
coisa que a gente está
So I
tecendo
think this
agora.
is something
E para
that
mim
we
também
are
tá muito
weaving
importante.
now. And for me, it's very much
Até porque eu
alive
acabei de chegar em
because
casa,
I just got home,
de
literally.
verdade.
So it's very much alive in
E
me.
foi muito bom.
And it
E
was
eu
very
gostaria de
good.
compartilhar isso com vocês.
And so I'd like to share that with you.
Eu posso escolher alguém para
Can I choose someone
ser o
to?
próximo? Deixa eu
All
ver
right.
então.
So let's see.
O Adrian. Escolha o Adrian.
Adrian, please.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mateus. So now, right now in my country is almost 10 p.m. and I'm still in the office. So what happens is that whenever we have a session for the ecosystem dialogue, I usually try to work late so that I could just go straight to the ecosystem dialogue. I remember 2 weeks ago, I had to leave the office at midnight to go to the house. Yeah, it's dangerous, but then I don't feel, or I don't look at the dangerous part of it. I just look at the connection that we are trying to build together. Today, I have the opportunity to talk to a lot of people: Dr. Robert, Marcelo, Michelle, Lorenza, Oscar, Mateus, Ceci, in fact, Beth, many people that I never thought I would have the opportunity to share ideas with. I never thought I would have the opportunity to be able to exchange a lot of things with. So I think there's something that has started, or we are trying to weave to come up to something very great. And I take the opportunity of, or I enjoy every minute I have to spend with you guys. I enjoy every second I have to say something in this wonderful platform. And I am always happy when I'm in front of you guys. I don't care what happens next. I just want to enjoy the moment. So thank you very much. I would like to choose Lorenza.
Hello, thank you, Adrian. I'm going to share something which is a little bit more personal. I want to weave, and I want to weave carefully. It relates with my health. Some days ago, I fell from a staircase, and I suffer a bit. And I cannot practice sport, and I feel the limitations of not being able to practice a sport. I started therapies, alternative therapies, and I'm taking care of my own health and in general terms, because during many years I didn't took care of myself. I'm started to generate self-care to be able to provide care for others.
Robert?
And I pass the word to Robert.
Yeah, thanks, Lorenza and Adrian. I mean, it's amazing. I can relate to what you're saying, Lorenza, actually. It's what am I thinking about? Like there's of late, I've been very busy, lots of different things to attend to, and it's meant that that most nights in the last 2 weeks I've only been able to get about 5 hours sleep on average, and some days I get really tired. But it's amazing what kind of reflecting on what you were saying, Adrian, when you're with people or working with people who are really striving to do what we're striving to do, the energy it gives you is quite extraordinary. And so right now I'm amazed actually, because I'm feeling really refreshed, only having slept for about 5.5 hours. And when I went to sleep, it was just like a blackout, just complete blackout. And then when I woke up, it was like bing, it felt like 2 seconds later. And so incredibly deep sleep. And I feel as though like I was a bit like you, Lorenzo. I was really concerned about my health, pushing myself, and I thought, gee, I need to kind of balance it. And so there's a lot of that going on, just moderating what I'm doing. But there's one of the profound ways to look after your health is to hang out with people, your people. It just makes such a difference. And being here with you guys is like that for me. Yeah, so thank you. How about you, Oscar?
Gracias, Robert. Bueno, estoy
Thank you,
teniendo
Robert.
problemas de conexión. No sé si se escucha bien lo que estoy
I have some
diciendo.
problems with my connections. I'm not sure if I hear properly, but or
Yo
if
los escucho a
you
ustedes
hear
y
me
no puedo ver la
properly.
imagen de sus
Está
videos.
muy bien, Oscar.
I can
Está muy
hear,
bien el sonido. ¿Sí?
I can hear it, but we hear, well, I hope you hear me well. Well, my weaving is getting more concrete, feeling that it's valuable
con diferentes
to
personas
do this work and share it with different people around the world, in Latin America, in
que
different
conmueve.
continents, to feel that it moves people,
Estuvo muy
that it's makes us emotional. Because for years I was very closed in between my family and in the town here. But since last year, when we started to share with Ceci and Yvonne and other people and other organizations here in Barichara, and also taking part in the participatory video with Sole and with Prosocial, it has given me strength, have given us motivation to continue, because sometimes we have doubts, we are not certain if what we are doing is beneficial for people. To have that view from outside give us a lot of energy. And I wanted to share this with you. And what do you think, Michelle?
Gracias, Oscar. There's so many things that actually I've been feeling at this moment, and I was just hoping that he won't invite me, but he will invite me. So it was so hard now to try to sue everything that we are actually talking and feeling. Stacey, I feel like crying, so don't worry if I start crying now. But I think it's so emotional when yes, Panuelo, thank you. Yes, thank you, Beth. I feel like there's a beauty in every time, in every word that we try to talk, like from this simple gesture of trying to speak in different languages so we can kind of have the words as a shorter kind of way to connect. But every time we are all together, it's just like having a connection that is not said. It's invisible, but there is. It was beautiful to see today Mateus and Marli and Mari Wilson together with Marcelo and another friend, Miguel. And it was like we couldn't feel that was their first time seeing each other in presence. They were all together feeling like they were together for a long time. They got to know, and we haven't realized that we were seeing each other for the first time. And at the same time, I could feel the connections of this weaving of the heart and the arms and the hugs. That from watching what all the indigenous people that we were watching this morning, attending the conference, it was something that it's awkward because we were feeling like that. But all of them, they feel, all those indigenous people, fighting that they've been segregated for so long. And they're needing to come along and be part. And it's hard to see that Wilson and Mari were part of that. If at the same time we're feeling so connected with them and feeling so embraced. So I'm still feeling this awkward feeling of being together and the power of whatever we're doing, of being together and supporting each other. But we know that there's so many polarities, so many challenges that we face daily. But by the time we kind of feel that we are together somehow, we can rest and not feel that we are by ourselves. So I'm still very emotional because it's not easy to connect and live and be there, and at the same time feel all these challenges that is like systematic challenges, and so many people actually feeling the basic needs that I know probably Adrian's feeling that, many people who's in the grassroots like Oscar, Sassi, depending anywhere that we are, we're feeling all that. And just feel that I have more energy to do and keep on doing what we're doing. And then still sewing our basket, our canasto, our nossa cesta, to understand and weave this beautiful basket, which is humanity. And I feel like every single little sting, I think that's the real meaning of love. So, Ceci, how about you?
Es muy particular lo que están diciendo hoy.
It's very particular what you are sharing today, because I have to confess something. I felt a little bit guilty because I have these long holidays, and I was fighting against that feeling because there's this three that we have to keep working all the time for people, and I don't know. When I arrived here, I gave me the opportunity to rest and to understand that it's not really work, but it's my sense of life. Because even here, I end up making connections with an organization of this territory.
oportunidades, ayuda o facilita
and I saw it just like a new opportunity to share
tiempo.
resources and helping that people don't feel segregated. So I
Necesidad.
came to the conclusion that what I do is not a work, is my deep necessity, is my need, my basic need, and that I like to be at service of people. So I like a lot what is happening, that we are interweaving resources,
Nuestro
people,
aporte, que aunque sea pequeñito, termina teniendo
to make our contribution that even if it is, we feel is a small, it has a resonance in people, in territories, and it's important. And I give the floor to, let me see, Beth. Please, Beth.
Thank you, Ceci. So much of what each of you has said resonated, or what most of what you all have said has resonated with me. And Adrian, what you had said about you never thought that you would be talking with so many people, and so many people with that are intentionally wanting to connect and weave and love. I too felt that way. I didn't know that that I would have such an opportunity to meet all of you all, to meet so many people from so many different areas and cultures, and doing so much work. And I mean, I haven't had a direct conversation with, I don't think, with most of you on this call, but yet I feel more connected to you, to some of you than I have, than I do people that I see daily, in person. And I think it's because of why you all have come together, why I keep showing up. I just keep showing up, this intentional connection and intentional weaving. I didn't know that I could really feel so connected with people that I haven't met, and that I really even haven't had a direct conversation with. And I just think that that's really unique and really special, and I don't understand it, but it is just a beautiful thing. I mean, I look forward to, to coming to this session, and it's just it's reassuring and comforting. And I get to, hear about Lorenza having an accident, and and struggling with not being able to exercise, and Mateus and your mother, and Ceci, I get to watch you dance, and all the smiles, and Michelle, I get to see you cry and share your heart, and I know that there's more for me to say. That's how this is making me feel. I'll stop there. Thank you. And I believe Hector might be someone that hasn't shared yet.
Good afternoon. Hi, everyone. I don't know what you are doing in this moment, because I entered a little moment yet, and if you can explain to me the activity, I can respond to.
Hola, Héctor, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenido. Gracias por venir acá y encontrarnos hoy. Es un privilegio para nosotros.
Thank you that you are here, Héctor.
Que para ti es como un tejido que estás a tejer en tu día a día, y que puede tener a ver con un proyecto que haces, o puede tener algo a ver con qué ocurre internamente en sus emociones, pensamientos. Entonces es una invitación para traer algo que importe para ti de este tejer, que puede tener a ver también con esta comunidad, con este ecosistema, ¿sí?
Listo, listo. Gracias, gracias Marcelo. Yo creo que algo que he
Now I
estado
understand.
tejer en los
So something that I have
últimos
been
meses,
trying to interweave in the last months is my relation with my partners of work, because we have an ambitious work to do with World Vision, and we have to interact with lots of
en
people
diversos
and
sectores
lots
del
of communities which are different and in different regions. And sometimes it's not so easy, because to deal with people, with youngsters, with children which are vulnerable at risk situation is not easy, not as easy as we may think. So I work a lot on the relation with my working partners to have a better communication skills, to have
y el poder
good channels
establecer
of
límites cuando
communication with them, to establish limits when we enter dialogues.
tratados
And in the past, it was difficult for me, but at present, I'm constantly working on that, so that the communication is optimal. To have the opportunities, as other colleagues already said,
contacto con
of being
personas de otras
able
organizaciones
to
en
have
otros países.
contact with people of other organizations and countries is just something is very special. For me, it was something that I never dreamed about. I remember that I
No suelen
shared that with
ser
Robert,
las más adecuadas,
because
entonces nunca pensé que iba a
our
poder
conditions are
tener
not the ideal ones for
reunión de
those
Zoom
dialogues. So to have this, to be able to meet you through this platform with people from all Latin America, Colombia, Brazil,
mucho y
are
que
things that I value a lot, that I want
a mi parte.
to keep doing. That's what I would like to share.
¿A quién invitas?
Ok. Como hace poco entré, vamos a invitar.
Since I entered recently, I don't know who has talked already.
Gracias, Héctor. Acho que tem tecer acontecendo
I
em
think
mim.
there's a weaving happening in me that I see happening outside of me as well. But in me, there's this weaving of creation of dialogue and openness to others, connections that are of affections and spaces of hearing. I see this happening in me, this cloth being weaved, and I see another cloth or fabric happening that I feel the need to do it. Maybe it's not so clear to me, but it's a weaving that has to do with fights and struggles and challenges, positions. It's a weaving of speaking one's truth and saying what, speaking our minds, and sometimes that create divisions. So I've been trying to integrate these forces that I see that they can bring more evolution in terms of what I need to reach. So that's what I wanted to say and bring to you, this weaving, because sometimes I look at it and I feel that I'm not going to be able to weave, to continue doing that. So then now I'd like to invite Anna, Carol, if you wish to open your microphone or to put on the chat something that's more alive to you right now, and then invite Maritza, Ana, Carolina, if you'd like to say on the chat. I'll try to do that very quickly.
precisa ser agora, pode ser mais tarde.
Doesn't need to be now, it can be later.
E aí eu vou passar a palavra então para Michele.
And then I'll pass the floor to Michele.
Thank you, Marcelo. Thank you so much. Always great to have. Carolina is gonna try a little later, but I know it's hard for them to be us at the same time to feel themselves, so they could actually share everything by the time we're here. So thank you, Carol. Thank you, Maritza. Anna, the same. I'm not sure if she's there, but if you are, please just comment up when you feel comfortable about. So I'm going to invite today. Thank you so much for everybody being here. I know I'm very moved today. It's so many feelings at once. It's really beautiful to feel the humanity that we carry, and at the same time feel connected with each of you in every single line, and just feel like we need to make this trip to Barichara to happen. To happen. So we still need to work on, Adrian was not aware of, we are trying to work on, we still do not have our funds for that, but we're really working after as a group, as a team. We believe that there is a beautiful connections that we leave throughout the Zoom meetings, which is really special and really important. We can feel the energy, but at the same time, we would like to enhance this whole project, all this whole energy that we feel in these meetings alive, in presence, face to face. One of the possibilities we are working on, we need to know and raise the budget, and also to raise the money with funders and donations, and we are starting to work. But at the same time, this is a teamwork. This is not something that is coming from the project because we don't have funds left for that purpose. But that's one of the intentions and aspirations we would like to work on. So probably in a few days, we're going to start open up some suggestions to start raising the costs, so we can have an idea how much you will be spending of having all of us, or at least two of us of each organization, meeting all together in Colombian Barichara at this moment. We have two wonderful people and partners here who are telling us, and they have very good marketing from Barichara. So every time they say, yes, please come. And at the same time, because they are two already in this project, they're there. And there are many things happening in the same area, which is a little harder if we come to Brazil or different other countries and continents, which was gonna be a lot of projects that are all separate. So that could be a possibility of how we could engage, and also to meet each other in person, give hugs and enhance this whole relationship. So I'll be probably sending you a couple of information so we can help each other to raise the costs and have an idea, because with that information, we can start working and going after and managing and feeling how everybody could actually engage in a way that we can make this possibility of being together in Barichara, Colombia, real. But this is everybody's effort. That's not something that is going to come from one side, but it's going to come and be possible with everybody's effort. Okay, so probably we're going to be sending information in a few days or weeks to have that information raised. Today we're going to start and keep on going with the presentations, but I would like to do, before we think and present, we're going to have La Jungla and we're going to have Conviver. Yes, Marcelo, would you like to say something before?
I was wondering whether we would share with maybe Adrian and also Hector about why we are doing that, this Barichara movement. What's our intention of doing that?
Yes, there is a couple of things that we understand, and it is also a research that is on the backstage that comes from Templeton Foundation, which is our funder for this aspect. They have a couple of researchers that say that love can be built and felt in our community, in a project, in the Zoom meetings. It's possible. but to enhance and kind of become not sustainable, because love cannot be called sustainable, but being kept in this community face to face and being present is really important to build communities in truth relationship. So when we think about all this, it's not just because of science, because we all very good in connections and embrace and hugs, and we truly believe that being together in presence, and out of the experience that Robert had shared with us before, this is our first project trying to do this type of program with everybody on the screen from different places without getting to know each other in person. So we said that there is a name, there is something that we can emphasize of making this possible and sustain more relations that we can build out of this presence and relationship that we're going to be together. By the time we get to know each other, I can say a little bit from the experience we're having in Brazil, in a way that we can meet everybody. It's so different. It gets this connection, yes, through Zoom meeting, but by the time we are together, we have the time that usually when we had the meetings in presence, we can talk. I can know more about the project, and I can know more about Mateus. I can know more about everybody, Mari and Wilson, being the grassroots level, seeing the presence, their families, their kids, everything. It's totally different. So we can not just think about what the research is saying, but at the same time, we can feel that because we are Latin Americans, and also Adrian is also from the other part who also likes to dance, who also likes to embrace, right, Adrian? Which we feel this connection that it's like something that misses so much. And I know Robert and also Beth, they feel the same. It's a little awkward because we hug too much sometimes for American, Australians, and Europeans. But by the time you get used to it, it's wonderful, like moving your body, right? When we had the dance last meeting. So all this is our main aim, not just because there's a part of Templeton Foundations from the research aspect. At the same time, there is this aim, human aim of all of us to see each other and meet. And by the time we totally believe and trust that this can be a great opportunity for us to enhance even more. And at the same time, promote and help and assist the projects that are already happening in Barichara from our talents, learn from them, always share. And out of that, we can have that experience taken back home to our places. And why not to think about our next meeting to meet, right? Why not? Having this year in Barichara, maybe next year we can have here in Brazil, or we can go to any other places in Chile or Honduras or any different places in Latin America, but also with Adrian, right? Adrian has projects so many places that I don't know if it's just one space, one area, but we can see, because that's the intention. Everything that we can do, if we feel and we learn how to work together, if that makes sense to us, empower us to do and share with more organizations, with more people. And by the time more people start living this humanity, this community, is what we wanted to see in the world as a whole. We can have a very supportive network in a way that we can be together and enhance actions that if we were by ourselves, it wouldn't be that strong if we have the power when we are all together. So that's what we see, and that's what we would like to have. This is one of the small aims, big aims of getting this first effort, how we can as a collective work together, raise this money, go together to Barichara, get to know each other. But this is just the first step that we can be doing and working all together. I think this is a little bit. Do I miss anything else? Let's see, Oscar, Lorenza, Mateus, Marcelo, Robert, Beth. Okay. So hopefully, yes, Hector and Adrian can be more and more with us. And then we can see each other as well and meet, not just to have as an intention, but we can have actually this co-creation and collective celebration. Yes. Yes. Okay, let's keep on going then. And then I would like to invite Mateus. Today we're going to have La Jungla and Conviver. It's going to be the two organizations to present. I would like to invite you, Adrian, if you would like, if you could. I'm not sure if maybe next week to present together with Ricardo that's going to be presenting Prisma Plantai about a little bit more about your project in a way that we're going to do the exercise today, and then you're going to see how we can actually engage ourselves and help each other's project. At the same time, give you the gifts of appreciation of what's happening. At the same time, suggestions, connections, or something that we have that might be really good for your organization as well. At the same time, we're going to have the time of questions as we had last year. I'm not sure if everybody was, I think Adrian was not with us last year with that, with the questions, appreciations. I don't think so. I think you were in the participatory video. Yeah. So at this time, we have also after the presentation a time of making new questions in a way that you can have different perspectives to be reflected about. So I think it's a wonderful time for us to share and build and work as a community. And there is a third option as well. That's what is also happening a couple of places where you can see, say, I would like to have an action or a project or something together with Adrian. When he says that, I think I can connect, or I would like to have something that on mine. I'll give an example when Ceci was presenting hers about Mari would like to actually have something to exchange about Syntropic project and knowledge and content, because she's also missing that in her village in Brazil. At the same time, Ricardo would like to offer his own content of the research he's having with some of the content he knows about a couple of palm trees that he could also offer a workshop or something talking about the palm tree as well. So we can actually give ourselves into the service of that in a way that we can enhance and add the projects that we are already having among ourselves. Right? Is that okay? Any questions? If anybody has anything to add, please feel free to come and add. Okay? So Adrian, can I count on you? Because then I can count on you and Ricardo for next meeting.
Of course. I'm ready. Next meeting. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
And just to be clear,
so,
the next meeting, is it next week or in 2 weeks' time?
Actually, we are doing to have this catch up and presentations. We are doing every week. But is that okay for you for next week, not in 2 weeks' time? Yes.
Of course.
Okay. So we can have. Thank you so much, Adrian. I'll send it to you too, so we can make sure that everybody has the right schedule. Right, Lorenza? We're double checking that so we can make sure that everything is okay. Mateus,
Oi de novo, pessoal.
Hi again,
Então,
everyone.
como a Michelle estava explicando,
So as Michelle was
a gente vai
explaining,
seguir fazendo
we're
o que
going to keep on
tem
doing
feito, né, nas
what
últimas
we've
semanas, que é conhecer os
been doing
projetos, né, alguns dos projetos.
before, which
Cada
is to get to
reunião a gente
know the
consegue
projects.
falar
In
sobre
every
um
meeting,
dos
we're able
projetos,
to
né?
discuss
Então,
and present two
como vocês
projects.
dizem,
So as Michelle said,
teremos uma rodada
we will have
de
a round
apresentação, né,
of
inicialmente 10
presentations initially, 10 minutes,
e em seguida
and then
a gente vai ter também mais uma
we will
rodada de
have
discussão,
a
que
round
também
of
vai durar
discussion that's also
10
going to
minutos
last 10
aproximadamente.
minutes approximately.
E
And then
nessa discussão, né, que
in this discussion
a gente está propondo,
that we are proposing, we want to fill a basket with our proposals. And Michelle also said that with comments and questions and offers, messages that we would like to leave for the person of the organization or the organization. And especially maybe with the possibility of creating partnerships and exchanges that we may have between organizations. So I don't know if Michelle or Anna could help me sharing the document with the orientation, putting that on the chat, and also the link to Miro board. But since it's a process that we've been doing for the last days, and we can also understand that during the process, I think we could also use the time to already discuss the projects and the organizations. What do you think? Can we do that? Yeah. All right. I don't know if Lorenza would like to start, if she feels up for it, because I think she was scheduled to present last week, so maybe that would be the ideal thing for Lorenza to have the time and begin. Can we do that, Lorenza? What do you think? Yep. All right.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So we will begin with Lorenza. If anybody has any questions or comments, you can say, or we can already begin with Lorenza. Right. So thank you. See you in a bit.
Súper, muchas gracias. Disculpen que
Thank
me
you
demore
very
un poco,
much.
estoy escuchando hoy día la interpretación. Entonces,
I'm hearing the translation, so sorry, it takes some time to answer.
la presentación que preparé para ustedes.
I'm going to open the presentation I have ready for you.
Empezar esta presentación,
And before
darle las
I get
gracias
started, I would like to
que me
thank
sirvió
you,
mucho
to thank Mateus, because
Oops, has frozen.
oh, Lorenza la perdí. No, no.
¿Está bien?
Ahora sí, pero ha cortado.
Sí, es la pauta de la presentación, me sirvió mucho. Para
Thank
armar
you, Mateus, for the guidance that you shared with us to make the presentation. It helped me a lot.
voy a empezar entonces.
I will get started then.
Disculpen.
Sorry. Getting organized.
Ahí va. Parece.
Here we go.
Perdón la demora, es que no sé por qué pasa esto.
I don't know why it applies the
¿Ven
image.
una presentación? Ahí sí. ¿Bien?
Sí.
Genial.
Sí, ajá.
Gracias. Entonces, bueno, como muchos de ustedes saben,
Well,
mi organización,
as many of you know, my organization is called La Jungla.
como antecedente, primero, muy
As
esta
background
organización nace
information, I would like to say that this organization
el
was
estallido social de Chile, la
born
revuelta social,
after this social upheaval in year 2019
manifestación desde la
here in Chile.
hacia lo que es
There
el
was a
gobierno,
manifestation of the society against politics, which express
de trabajo, de calidad de
the,
vida,
the
etcétera. Entonces esto
not
después
conform feelings of the people in our country,
aislamiento,
and then it came the pandemic, so we were isolated, and just mixing this social crisis with the isolation that we suffer, we feel the need to start practicing sports and practice this type of communication from another point of view. So we create here in Valparaíso La Jungla. We are a community
a mí me gusta decir que es
around
al deporte en
football.
general, que activa entrenamientos,
I like to say that is around football. We organize inclusive tournaments in different territories to strengthen social fabric, local economy, and physical and mental health of members of those communities. The core team are these three people.
Ingeniero civil,
The first person here, he's a civil engineer. I am the second person. I'm finishing my studies of psychology. And the third person who studied audiovisual arts at the university here in Chile.
Actualmente somos nosotros tres como
But at
gobernantes.
present, we have a structure of governance. We are
Nació, había un
the
equipo de 7
basics.
personas.
But at the beginning, we were a core team of 7 people. So I wanted to communicate that we have changed a lot in our structure, and that we value a lot the community that participate in our project.
La comunidad que nos compone es algo muy
Well,
importante porque sin nuestros
the
participantes,
community that take part in our projects, it's very important for us because without them,
aquí les
we
traigo
wouldn't exist.
que es,
I have a
¿sabías que
curiosity here to share with you.
9 torneos
Did you know that we
torneos
have
tienen temáticas distintas?
done 9 different tournaments? We have different subjects, like around animals. We also did a tournament around political prisoners
La revuelta social.
that were the result of the social upheaval that we lived in 2019, awareness of waste, of the good living, of the sea, awareness of waste, but in Algarrobo, this of professionals against the World Cup, but it's more not against the World Cup, but the sense of competitiveness and of the sea. And here we have the question mark of what it will be our next tournament or the subject. And the second curiosity I wanted to share with you is that La Jungla
de personas de muchos países también.
Is composed of people of different countries. There are people from Chile, from Venezuela, from Paraguay, from Uruguay, from Argentina, even people from the USA, from Germany. So in that sense, we all have this inclusive sense. We also have non-binary gender people,
personas no binarias que
or
no se identifican con ni uno de los dos géneros, o son personas
genderqueer
que
people who don't identify with feminine or masculine roles,
de género y sexuales que hay.
And different diversities in the gender world.
El video básicamente era...
The video was mainly about the fire in Viña, and when there is fires of that big magnitude, there is always the suspicion that it was intentional, and we play football to raise resources to try to rebuild houses which were burnt. And that was exactly the message of our video, that we collect money and rebuild. What we do, cycles of training and tournaments. We train 3 times a week in the morning just to enhance all those healthy practices. And we make a tournament every 4 months with a different subject. So we transform football in that sense into a social practice.
Construimos valores colectivamente cuando nos formamos como jungla.
Contribute to values
y a través de los cuales
that are the basement of our relation. For example, to give a new meaning to competitiveness.
Decálogo son la resignificación de competencia, rebeldía, participación.
These are the values that we have: defiance, transformation of conflicts, pleasure, commitment, identity, respect, creativity, and freedom. Those are our values.
Reivindicar el fútbol.
And those values are used to give a new meaning to football. We activate this community to also generate a positive impact in the relations of the people taking part in those communities.
Y vimos la carencia de como una falta de organización más estructurada.
Football as a positive practice to enhance these relations. We also implemented a collective way of governance. So we took elements of Sociocracy 3.0 to share tasks that we have in our organization. So identified the fields that we identified through the experiences we have. So we identified task forces for communication, culture, league, and tournaments. And as somebody already was commenting,
actualmente están activas, nuestro
I think
círculo
it
de
was Hector
gobernanza
who was saying that working with communities sometimes is
está activo en
difficult.
entrenamientos
So
y liga. Y después los
we
otros
have
tres se
these
cumplen un
task forces to enhance
ahí
the
cómo
trainings, the league that we have put in place. So we learn by experience and by doing.
Entonces, problemáticas a la vista que yo les quería
Which are
mostrar,
the challenges we have at present?
la falta de recursos, porque
I see that
pese a que nos ganamos un
that
proyecto
we have problems with the
durante el
resources.
que recién pasó, que fue con
During the
infancias
last
y adultos, eso
years,
fue muy valorable, que fue también con infancias,
we have
una forma de
tournaments with children and adults,
retribuir a los entrenadores, de retribuir a los organizadores de la comunidad.
but we don't have resources to retribute the efforts of trainers,
No hemos descubierto cómo
and we
recursos.
haven't
El segundo
actually put in place a method to
compromiso
generate those resources to
comprender
make
que
us
siempre hay un
sustainable.
flujo de personas y
Another
los
challenge we
contextos van a
have
ser
is
cambiantes,
how
entonces
to enhance participation
si es que las personas
and
van a estar, si es que no van a estar,
constant commitment, because we have just
como les decía
people
antes,
moving,
el
coming
equipo
and going, and
es la
that's
comunidad.
so for us is very important also
También
to
tengo
take
la
into account our community,
los
so we revert to them as well.
cómo se manejan, cómo asegurar el
We have
autocuidado
also challenges in terms of
en este
human relationships, conflicts, how to deal with
problemáticas
them, how to generate self-care.
el impacto que tenemos como jungla. Esto
And now what are the impact that we
canvas de impacto
achieve with our work?
y nosotros propusimos
What we did with the governance team that we conformed, we have 4 main areas.
torno a estrategias y proyectos
We are
locales
a learning community that activates itself towards
en diversos territorios.
strategies and projects at local level
Generamos
to
mecanismos de
develop training and tournaments.
y su contexto territorial
We also generate
con propósitos y
connection between startups and companies at local level with sports, with purpose
y
and
conectado
shared values.
tejido social del
We
territorio.
also incentive physical
Queremos hacer
activity
talleres de codiseño
through
de
inclusive football. And
locales para desarrollar
finally, we
entrenamientos y
also
torneos
work in the
mixtos
co-design of
de
workshops
mitigación y compensación.
to organize football tournaments and trainings as means of compensation and or
Aquí los
mitigation in
Por
problematic
el lado izquierdo, yo les
context.
traigo los resultados que llevamos
On the
2
left here, we have results. We
y
have been working
meses
for 2 years in
en
Valparaíso.
Algarrobo, pero actualmente esa
We
comunidad
worked also for 3 months in
ha
Algarrobo,
realizado
another town near Valparaíso. We have achieved the implementation of 8 tournaments at present.
adultos, mujeres,
We have
hombres,
more than 200 people
y más de
actively participating, children, women,
cuántas
men,
personas hemos logrado impactar.
and
Pero
more than 60
WhatsApp de
children.
personas activas tenemos 176 personas y mientras que
We have a
2007
WhatsApp group with 176 people participating actively and 2,171 followers in Instagram.
expectativas, porque las métricas de impacto
Expectations we have,
actualmente porque no hemos logrado generar ni una métrica formal. Entonces a mí me gustaría, como
we
equipo,
haven't had like formal ways of measurement up to the
tener
present.
mejoras en la gestión de las emociones y poder
But
reflejarlo como
we would
en
like to be able
tasas de bienestar,
to show a positive impact
y personas adultas. También saber
in improvement of obesity,
año, porque
physical and mental issues,
y claramente el deporte y las
because
relaciones
that will reduce the cost that we invest in health issues here in Chile, which is very costly. We also have different kinds of solidarity campaigns activated. We would like also to see how inclusive is our football, to identify what is the impact of the public implementation of the publicity we invest in our campaigns, and how many startups or companies at local level are connected with our projects. That's also a way that I think we can measure the impact we have. The expectations we have to activate communities in other territories that build shared values, as we have already done. But in this case, with the sports of their choice, to pursue the same goals of the strengthening social fabric, local economies, physical and mental health of their members, but from their own perspective. An expectation that I have is to be able to show positive impact in the participating community, from physical and mental well-being to improvement of local economy and strengthening of participation and care of their territories. And also to support children, young people, adults, and elders, counting on a wide variety of professionals with the psychological abilities to face different contexts and manage those realities with the care and love that they deserve. Professionals of their territories that understand the context of their realities and feel identified with the purpose and values that are built collectively. Those are the things that I would like to achieve in time, in middle or long term with La Jungla. That's what I have to share with you. And I hope that this presentation have awakened your interest, that I have touched your hearts, and I will be gladly hearing your suggestions.
Thank you so much, Lorenza. Your presentation was great. And in particular, as you know, I am a fan of your work. I really like the project. But I will leave, to comment in the moment for that. When we fill out our baskets, I'll do that there. And guys, now at this time, we will fill out, the baskets. And while we do that, if you have any questions, any doubts, any comments that you'd like to make on the chat or here, you can use this time for us to already start the discussion. Okay, can we do it like that? While we fill out the baskets, we can talk, and then we say what everybody put on the baskets, and we can discuss just so that we can use the time as best as we can. Okay, right. Thanks, everyone. So I will share the link with you down below, and then I will also share my screen. I can share the screen, Mateus. Oh, right. Okay. So feel free to ask questions, make comments. If you'd like to begin with the discussion, who would like to say first?
Just a quick question, Matthias. Are we going to watch the video that Lorenzo is going to show for us?
Ah, verdade, a gente pode assistir o vídeo.
Oh, right. Yeah, we can watch the video. Yeah, so that we don't miss the opportunity. Sorry, I had forgotten. Thank you for remembering me, Robert.
Não sei se a Lorenza ou...
No, Anna. Anna is going to...
I don't know if Lorenza or Anna would like to share the video with us, please.
Supposed to share it. Lorenza says that she can try again, but she's not able.
Maybe
Anna is going to do it.
Anna, thanks, Anna.
Right.
Que agarro la hora, son las 2:22. Me encanta fumar las esporas, me dan tos. Él sabe que soy su doctora. Toc, toc, toc. Cuando prendo mi emisora quedan plop, plop, plop. Bitch, don't play with my bros. La calle está caliente, aquí te enseñan de todo. Algunos quieren entrar, otros librar, pero al final del camino hay pura perdición. Yo de mi mamá solo pido bendición. Ya me dio de comer, incluso solita me crió, ponga atención. Si te quedas dormida, ni se acercaría al camarón. La rúa carnicería y la jauría anda repartida por Babilón, repartida por Babilón. Es así, es así. Es así como te lo cuento yo. Como ají, como ají. Picante, 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 no, por eso sigo y te digo que aunque suene cliché todo lo que quiero lo consigo, pero ¿por qué lo persigo? Me desvivo por mi gente y por mis motivos. Entre la tierra y el cemento aprendimos a ser pilla y pillo, niña y niño, no me hagas guiño. Soy buena para buscarme enemigos, ya me cansé de esas ovejas de rebaño, ni hay con su discurso. Siempre que agarro la hora
Muito bom o vídeo. Obrigado, Lorenza, por compartilhar com a gente.
Great. Thank you, Lorenza, for sharing with us. We could see the power of the participants of La Jungla in this video and the actions that you're carrying out. So very interesting. Thank you for sharing.
Alguém gostaria de fazer alguma
Would
pergunta,
anybody like to ask a question or make a comment?
fiquem à vontade, tá, pessoal? Enquanto a gente
Feel
vai
free to do so
também.
while we are filling out the baskets. Adrian?
Okay, thank you very much, Mateo and Lorenza, for the presentation. Now, I'm just curious, from the video, I could see teams of both men and women. So I'd like to understand, like, the organization, is it like women play against women or men play against men, or it's just like mixed? You can play on both teams, no matter the gender or whatever.
El fútbol de la jungla es mixto, entonces eso
The
significa
football at La Jungla is mixed, so we play it all
equipos
mixed.
intentamos hacerlo
In general, when we build up teams, we try to build up those teams trying to distribute
poner a
abilities.
muchas personas competitivas en un mismo equipo.
So we try not to make unbalanced teams, because if they are too good, they tend to be more competitive, and that is establish a conflict with our values. So what we try is to maintain an even standard of mixed football with the participation of men and women on even basis, if you want.
Very inspiring work.
Oscar, ¿le gustaría hacer algo, decir algo?
Sí. Bueno,
I would like
mucho a
to
Lorenza
add, first
lo
of
maravilloso
all,
que acaba de compartir.
thank you very much for the process that you have shared with us, Lorenza.
Me encantó.
And I just loved what you do, how to transform the meaning of competitiveness, because
En Colombia le
we
tememos
think of football generally, for example,
sí,
in
después
Colombia, football
la selección.
generates lots of violence. When there is a participation of Colombian players at the international level, there is violence, there are conflicts. So football is turning into a very anti-values, things which motivate violence. So this work gives us a completely different perspective of football that can be used in different contexts. It can be a transformation that applies in neighborhoods, in different contexts. That it is a way to reestablish human connections. Because as humans, we learn playing. Even when we are children, we start learning through playing dynamics. So we privilege through education the learning process through games. So your work reestablish this connection of humanity and the joy of playing. I have a question, Lorenza. There is something important, and how do you obtain resources to generate winning that allows you to work with those communities that you work? I would like to ask about that. The resources that we earn, since we try that is accessible to everyone, in general, we are very flexible into the demanding a payment for trainings. But if we compare that with dollar values, so I would say that we $1.50 for a training. So we put that into a fund that we can able to use then with the community. But when there is a tournament, when you organize a tournament to raise funds, for example, when there is a fire, we we make people pay an inscription fee so that we collect funds. Sometimes we have to pay also to rent the playing grounds where we train. So we try to deal a better price or to gain help through our community to give us the opportunity to maintain low the costs. So, but we don't have a fixed strategy to raise funds. And thank you for your contribution, Oscar.
Robert?
Yeah, thanks, Lorenzo. I mean, your work has always inspired me. I'm wondering, what's the main thing you've learned doing this work?
Gracias por la pregunta. Justo me encuentro en un momento
Thank you for your question, Robert.
como de transformación.
At this very
con respecto a la
moment,
jungla.
I feel that I'm going through a transformation with my organization
Esta comunidad acá en
because I
Valparaíso.
have invested lots of energy to maintain this community here in Valparaíso.
Cambiantes, pasan
But
relaciones
as I
humanas,
already
pasan
shared, we have conflicts and situations that make me lose motivation. So I'm learning to focus my energy in certain priorities because my principal aim is now is to strengthen my process
redes, tejer redes,
to be able to take my project to other territories. So I cannot do that if I dedicate all my energy to the community in Valparaíso. I hope to manage my learning process of trusting that the community in Valparaíso is going to maintain itself. I'm going through this transition right now.
And so what's working best to help you through that transition?
Creo que aprender
I think to learn to let it go certain processes, because in Valparaíso, for example, it doesn't depend on me, the participation of people in this community, but it's the project of La Jungla which is inviting.
Con ustedes y
because
siempre
at present, I privilege the idea of meeting with you
y comprender que es algo más integral.
to share a sense of a more global vision of what I'm doing. It's very important for my transition.
Ha sido muy valioso para mí aprender lo que es trabajar con comunidades.
It has been very valuable. All the experience that I have gained working with communities and how to congregate communities through sports. That has been my main learning.
Amazing. Thank you.
Eu gostaria de fazer
Right, so I'd like to make a comment, actually, and already go into the baskets because I left a message there for you, Lorenza, because I see a lot of possibilities of collaboration. I was talking about this with Michele, thinking about Diga and La Jungla, and in the challenges and next steps that you proposed for your organization, you talk about metrics for mental health and some other things. And some of these things we've measured here in Diga, and I will also measure in Diga in movement. And I think I could help with that. And also doing research for intervention and maybe bringing part of a project like an adaptation for Diga in Brazil. You know, many things, many possibilities, but those are two examples. If you're up for it, we can create this partnership in thinking about the next few steps. But just to leave you this message, and thanks for your presentation. Thank you so much.
Yes, I would love to conversate in deep with you, Mateus. Yes, let's get started.
Right, and thank you for the gifts. I received banners and stickers and the things for my fridge, and I will put them there. So thank you so much for the gifts. I'm going to take them to the university tomorrow.
Lorenza, yo te quiero agradecer porque acabas de cambiar mi percepción con el fútbol.
Lorenza, I want to thank you because you changed my perception of football. I don't like football, but I don't understand much of it because I identify football with a very competitive sport. And one of the principles of the Synthropic Collective is cooperation, not competition. So this way of making people able to see the good sides of it, it's just wonderful. Oscar, I don't know, what do you think? I just want to work with the children. I just dream about the possibility to take La Jungla and work with your kids here in Barichara. If this project becomes a reality, we can do workshops here. Because that would be something that we can bring to the rural areas here. Here, we also work on the same principles. We work from the cultural point of view with the synthropic principles. So I'm sure that they will understand your principles, Lorenza. When we go to Santa Elena, which is another rural area next to where Oscar lives, there is always this playing between children, football, and that's marvelous. There is no referee in our games, and I think it's something which is something that we can implement here. It will be just lovely to have you here, Lorenza.
It was very good, Lorenza. Muchas congratulaciones, porque cuando nosotros estuvimos en Chile era una cosa maravillosa de mirar toda.
Thank you, Lorenza. Being in Brazil, in Chile, and being able to see your process was just so marvelous. To be present at your games, because it's played with art, because they are very good players, but it's played in a different way. I would like to share something that we experience with the ancestral people here in Brazil. I saw them playing, and I thought they were playing football. They were also mixed teams. They have never had the opportunity to be in other places. They only lived in those communities. And when we ask who is leading the game, who is winning, they say nobody. So for me, in that moment, I understood that there is a wisdom, that it's completely identified with your project. Those concepts of the native communities that participate in mixed teams and play just for the joy of playing, not for the sense of winning the game. So I would like to share with you, because I think this wisdom of our ancestral communities identifies also with your principles or your values at La Jungla, Lorenza.
I would like to invite all of you to have a lot of information. Then I know that you're already connecting with Lorenza. I feel in my heart, because there are two things that I think in Latin America, I'm not sure in Africa is the same. Adrian, please let us know. But two things that is very connected. It's dance, like art, kind of movement, and soccer. Either in the situation of competition, we understand, but we're also talking, like, for example, in Brazil, is the only thing that unites the whole country during World Cup. It's soccer. So for some reason, I think there's a lot of things that is coming from Lorenzo's project that give us like some feedbacks. What is actually coming that is totally Latin America? There's something that our community here feels in the heart, moves in the body, and at the same time kind of connect us with this kind of thing when we are suing this line that we are saying that can be love, can be dance, can be soccer, can be so many things that also unite us and make us feel well prepared to build this whole basket. But just something. Today I know we have one more presentation, so now I know since he's the one who's going to be presenting, I would like to invite him to come, because I think this is a project that really connected to our hearts. I would like to also to emphasize, if you could, we have the mirror board. Please put your gifts, your offerings, your questions, all there. Because even the ones you just made now, it's really good for Lorenza to have that registered. So if she has the time after, she would like to deeply reflect in a different moment, she also can be gifted. So I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes, because I know if I keep on talking and move to Mateus, we don't have that time. So I'm just gonna share the screen for a little moment with music, and then Mateus, if you wanted to get ready, and then right after we can start your presentation. Is it okay?
Michele, eu tenho uma dúvida. Agora,
Michelle, I have
depois
a question.
do preenchimento do Miro e tal, a gente vai ter mais uns 20 minutos. Mais ou
We'll
menos.
have
Você acha
20 more minutes, right? So do you
seria o
think this time is enough for me to present and have the discussion? Because sometimes we go over that time. Maybe we can open space for Robert and for Beth to say some things.
Let's see how they feel.
I think go on with the presentation. My sense is the connection happens when people are presenting. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Uhum.
Okay, Mateus.
Beleza. Uhum. Beleza. Uhum.
All right.
Thanks, Mateus, for asking.
Yes, thank you.
If someone needs any support, please let us know, then I can also put for you. But if it's okay, it's just to pick up of those post-its and pictures and I was trying to share a song, but my Zoom is kind of, I don't know what is happening.
Michelle, I just wanted to remember.
You would like to write
Michelle?
also your name. So if Lorenza would like to share or contact or
exactly.
get to know a little bit more about your offering or question or possibility of working together, she's able to connect. Okay, I'll give you, we will leave the Miro board available. So if you have any time you would like to share a little bit more, it's going to be kept for the whole program, anything that you need. And you can keep on adding. Is that okay? It's just because today we have one more presentation to go, which is going to be very special. But thank you so much, Lorenza, for bringing your light, right? It's so beautiful because I feel connected by being so fortunate to have the opportunity to attend and watch the games and see and visit La Jungla in Chile. So much appreciation for you to open your doors and also taking us for that space, which I think is a very special drop of hope and change in our Latin American continent. So thank you so much. So now at this moment, we're going to have another beautiful project, and I would like to invite Mateus to come along and bring a little bit about DIGA, which is not just DIGA. There is a Conviver project, but DIGA is one thing that I think he's going to come on board and share with us. Again, just as a reminder, any notes, any questions you would have right after his presentation, we're going to open up to give him and gifted him. Okay? Mateus, go ahead. It's with you.
Obrigado, Michele.
Thank you, Michele. Thank you, everyone.
Agora, então, vou compartilhar aqui com
Well,
vocês,
so now I will share my screen with you.
a minha tela. Vou compartilhar o som também, porque eu tenho que passar
And also the sound, because I need to show you videos in the end. But I'd like to make this presentation, it's a bit more theoretical in the beginning, explaining the structure of the project so that I can put 2 videos very quickly in the end, and then we can have more time for discussion. So as Michele said, we are Conviver. This is the name of the organization, and then you have DIGA, and inside DIGA, there's a DIGA in movement, DIGA in movimento, which is the project in which I work for my master's degree. And it's a project that has to do with an intervention that we do in schools. But before I speak specifically about the DIGA in movement, I'd like to share a few curiosities with you. If we type in Portuguese, violência nas escolas, violence in schools on Google, we're going to see very recent news, like 16 hours ago or 1 day ago or 2, about cases of violence and people trying to deal with it in a certain way. Here, for example, you have the challenge of fighting violence in schools, monitoring systems against violence and bullying, impact of violence, all of these news on the day-to-day of students. So in addition to these more general indicators, there are indicators from the schools of the DIGA project, because just like we have violence and students who do cyberbullying and say bad words and speak ill of others, in the same way that we have that in our society, we also have people who want to contribute and want to help. We have teachers who try to stop bullying and students who are also working against that, and people who can help for these victims not to suffer so much. Sorry, I'm coughing here because of the drink that I had here, whey with wheat. Anyway, so in bullying, guys, there are many people involved, not just the offender and the victim. You have the defenders and possible defenders, observers, supporters, followers. And all of these people, they can act in a certain way in order to contribute to reducing or minimizing bullying among peers. I'm now going to explain that further. But what is DIGA anyway? In view of these problems, DIGA is a program of intervention. It happens in schools, and it can happen in other environments. I'm also going to mention that. But the acronym DIGA, the word DIGA, means 4 strategies that we can use for the conflicts. And here you can have children or ourselves. So D is for dialogue, I is for ignore, G is for gain distance, and A is for acha ajuda, is find help. So those are the 4 strategies. Children usually internalize this. They say, oh, I have already used D, and now I'm using I, and now I'm going to ask for help because there's nothing else to do. Anyway, so they internalize this. And what is, what does DIGA try to do? It tries to promote social responsibility, as I said, in schools. So when we promote social responsibility or accountability in schools, we can see an increase of pro-social behavior in kids, like helping others, taking care of others, making the school environment and other environments less vulnerable to bullying and violence. So in addition to decreasing problematic behaviors, we are able to promote positive behavior in children. And the schools would be responsible for spreading the message, against conflict and bullying, this message that we try to spread everywhere. And the school would disseminate all of that and spread that for the families and the community, the internet, and all of that. And in Diga, for all of this to happen, we offer resources for that, basically. We have courses, online courses with certificate by means of our university. And we also have this library with several resources. We have a guide, we have teaching plans, pedagogical booklets, music, banners, posters. So we have several resources and other things that we are coming up with, like the Diga in movement that I'm presenting here. And we always encourage people to use Diga daily. This needs to be part of the culture of the schools, and not only schools, but in all other contexts, so that this common language is created for this peaceful resolution of conflicts and positive relationships and all of that. And now I'm going to show you a video. It's a very interesting video because recently in Brazil, we had a boom of cases of violence in schools with attacks and things that are very sad. And in this week, this particular week that everybody was discussing that, one of the attacks, they were discussing, policing in schools. And so we visited the Sangino school. That's where we have Diga and Movement project going on. And I'm going to show you the video and you will understand the reason why I brought this particular video. I hope you can see it.
Matheus, não está saindo som.
Matheus, we can't hear it. Oh, you can't hear. Right, so let me close my mic. Maybe that helps. Did you select that? Yeah, I did.
E o pior que eu selecionei. Acho que não vai rolar,
Yeah,
mas
I
eu
think
posso.
it's not gonna work. But I can share with you on WhatsApp, no problem, this video later on. But in this video, basically, the children are chanting the Diga song, but with a power, because I was beside the person who's recording this, and it's a power that, it gives me chills when I remember. Because, you see children saying, talking about the culture of peace, about using the Diga strategies and solving conflict and emotional problems with dialogue and with the strategies in a positive way. And we see that, yeah, maybe they can't put police in schools, and there's no problem with that. But a program like Diga that aims at promoting these skills and behaviors that I just showed you is also very effective. And it can be a complement to those actions. Like we talked to the Secretariat of Education of Curitiba recently, and we have very effective results,
I wonder, Matthias, if you share your screen and choose to share sound when you do it, we should be able to hear the video.
Beleza, vou mostrar aqui.
Right, I'll try to do that. Just a moment. Sound again. So I'm just going to show you the slides. Let's see if I can do that now. Let's see. Hang on. Let's see.
No, it's odd.
Parece que não vai, né?
Yeah, I think it's not gonna work. Can you hear it or not?
Saiu?
Uh-huh.
Can you hear it? Let's see. If you can't hear very well, just let me know. No? But it's okay. I can share that on WhatsApp, no problem. I have here on my cell phone as well. But anyway, this video shows the impact, and you will be able to see that later. In the Diga in Movement part, I can put this video without sound because there's no talk. But here we're going to show you dance and drama so that children are even more engaged in this process, because we know that, soccer, like in the case of Lorenzo, is something that's common in Latin America. It's something that has an impact and that engages a lot of people. Movement also has that power, and we want to use it now, the movement and drama, so that how can I say this? We can promote the impact even further. So I'm going to share this with you so that we can see how this is going to happen. So we're going to adapt this video to the schools.
Esse é projeto, pessoal, o WITS,
This is a project. WITS, they translated it because WITS in motion, it's the DIGA in motion, in movement. So they have several resources, plans, and all of that we're going to adapt. This is from Canada, and we're going to adapt this into the DIGA, and we're going to implement those in school. And that's going to be a research later on, because as I said, this is my master's research that we adapt from this program. And we're also going to measure a few indicators with children. So just to conclude, I'd like to show you my team. This is the team of the Conviver project. A few people are no longer there in the team, and I'm not there in the picture anyway, but this is Josepha, as you know, he's our leader. Here we have people who contribute with our project, and they are the ones who make all of this happen. And I hope you were able to understand the idea of the project, and I hope I can share with you now. Thank you.
Yeah, good. Fantastic. And I'm wondering too, like Lorenza, Matthias, I'm wondering what are the biggest insights and you've taken, and what are you learning? What's the most powerful thing you're learning at the moment?
I think the most powerful thing that I learned is that everybody needs to be involved. In a project like DIGA, everybody needs to be involved so that we can create this common language, this change in culture, because at the end of the day, we are proposing that, a change of culture in which people stop fighting and stop suffering emotionally. Well, not stop, but reduce that, because that can happen even with the implementation of DIGA in movement, DIGA in motion. But everybody needs to be involved. Otherwise, if the child has this image, this message of peace in one place and not in the other, the kid is going to be confused and not know what to do. So the chances that the kid is going to repeat doing the same thing, the same problematic behavior, let's say, and being confused, that's high. So if everybody's not involved, it's harder to see the results that we expect to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, the strongest thing that I learned was that, but because when everybody's involved, it works. And this video that I'm going to share with you on WhatsApp, it's an example of that. The power of the school, of the community, everybody involved. And in a week that was so critical, so crucial, and so sensitive for Brazil, in which we had this attack, bringing this strong message, that was amazing.
What about you personally?
Nossa, eu sempre digo que aprender a
I
lidar
always say that to learn how to deal with people in different levels, like since secretariats of education in the government and going to children, because you can't deal with these people in the same way. Children need to receive a message in a certain way, and these other people in higher positions, because they are interested in other types of message. So I learned to communicate, sometimes with everybody all at once. I learned how to do that without being anxious, because I was very anxious and nervous, and I started to sweat. But now I'm able to keep my calm and, try to talk to everyone in the best way possible.
It's amazing. You're an old soul in a young body, Matthias. I'm sure of it.
Sim, também acho.
Yeah, I think that too.
Obrigado, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
Go ahead,
I think-
Adrian.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations, Mateus, on your project and your successes and everything. I feel what you're doing is really inspiring, because in this side of the world, there are certain things that we neglect. And I think that violence in schools, that's one aspect that, in quotes, we neglect in this part of our own world. Now, we feel that we have better things to worry about. Meanwhile, it's something very important that from the base, we have to look at it before it grows to something else. So I think your work is very inspiring. But I would just like to know, you talked about working with schools. Now, have you tried to measure maybe your successes in these schools, maybe the level of violence before and after, or have you had any chance to maybe measure how successful your project have been, maybe working with schools?
Então, eu sou dos membros.
Right, so I am one of the members of the DIGA team. Our team is big, and everyone is a researcher there. So everybody does research about the DIGA and all of that. We have a few impacts that we saw. So the schools tell us, and one example is that in this school in Sandino, is the same day of the video, the director said that with DIGA, now there are less cases of violence in the school, and the teachers are less sought after when there's a type of conflict between the children or some emotional problem that happens, because the children start using the steps of the DIGA, and to find help is the last step, right? It's not that you need to follow that in order, but the children usually follow that in order. And when there's no way to solve it, and if they were not able to talk or walk away or gain distance or ignore, they then seek help. They find an adult or talk to someone who can help. And that's very good for the teachers, because, as you said, normally people are concerned with other things, right? Oh, the subjects, geography, Portuguese, math, and solving conflicts is like the last thing. Is like, I'm doing something more, it's extra. And DIGA, with DIGA, the teachers are able to focus on that, and they get the DIGA and they bring that to their work, and they can do that together with teaching the content of their subjects. So this is one impact. And we already saw that in the pandemic, children who participated in the schools that had the DIGA program had less depression because of the social emotional education that we also promote, in addition to the social responsibility. So we were able to view a lot of impacts, even, as I said, an improvement in learning the content of the traditional subjects. So yeah, we have a lot of research already published. I can even share them with you. And we are still producing. We have a lot of data that we have not yet used. So possibly in the future, you will see more information about the impact.
Amazing.
Obrigado, pessoal.
Thank you, guys.
Matheus, muchas gracias por
Matheus, thank you
tan bella
for
y tan
sharing your
esperanzadora.
experience, this hopeful experience that you share with us. I have been working
y
in different scholar context and also with the subject of bullying,
muy
all
común.
of these mechanisms of
Más
aggression, which are very common in schools. So I feel that your project is very necessary and it's very beautiful to be here
mucha más experiencia
because we identify tools that that other use and we identify that we have to learn a lot from each other. In this context of DIGA, for example,
a nivel de edades, quiero
how
decir,
it works
funciona más con primera
with
infancia.
ages groups.
Sí.
It's more effective with youngsters, with children. What is the evidence you have?
Aplica, por ejemplo, cuando
What
dices
is
que
the biggest impact?
padres de familia,
When you say that you work with all the
tales,
community,
las
how is
personas.
it with the local authorities, parents, and other members of society? How is this impact measured?
Yeah, to answer your first question, the proposal of DIGA, which is the base program, is to work with primary schools, so very small children, until the third year of the school. So they use the 4 strategies, and they're able to use that well. From the 4th to the 5th year, which is where we stop, in the 5th year of our school, that's not high school, it's before that. So it's another part, digging movement, which I'm not going to work with now. But these older kids, they work to help the younger children to use DIGA. So they become leaders in this process. And regarding the participation of all the children who are part of the relationships of the kids, yes, in addition to the schools, we have the family and community leaders and secretariats of education and decision makers. And this is the challenge at the same time, how to engage everyone. Because as I said, if one part, stops holding the hand of the community at that process, the process becomes harder. But if everyone is engaged, everyone is involved, then the results are more effective. But we try and we offer resources to the schools, to the families. We also have a lot of resources in our website that it's open. I can send you the link of our website that's open for the families. And there are resources for community leaders as well. And we have events in schools. We have our mascot, which is the Digo, as you saw it. We also call our community leaders to participate in events, to do these ceremonies and all of that. So there are a lot of things that we do to engage everyone. We offer the resources so that everything is possible, really. And we're doing new things as well. Now we're going to have DIGA and science. We have DIGA and intellectual humility, because Josepha is away at this time, but those are the next few steps for DIGA as well. Mateus, for the 4th and 5th grade that you said for the elementary school, how old are the students? 9, 10 years old. Until 11 years old, 11, 12, that's where we stop. It depends on the school. But thank you, guys. Yeah, I'm thinking about a lot of things, my mind is, considerations and taking things and right, Lorenza, go ahead. And I'm going to share the screen so that we can start putting things in our baskets. Those who are in the mirror, you can, I'm speaking Portuguese, sorry.
Writing in our Miro board. So if you would like to add anything, please make that and register so we can have Mateus all this information, and I will open up from Lorenza.
Gracias, sí, dejé un comentario, Mateus, en el Miro.
I just left the message for Matthews, and I wanted to comment on something that you have said at the beginning when you were asking the first question about how
llegar a tal profundidad en la comunidad
when that when we achieve that deepness into a community,
valores, compórtate de
that
esta
is
forma,
not
nos relacionamos
necessary to repeat constantly, these are the values, but there is something that emerges naturally,
se relacionan con el
and that we can perceive those values in the way people interact. So at the end, when people are not identify themselves with those values, they generate like a reflexive attitude of acknowledging that they are, for example, too competitive, and try to adapt to apply the values that have been established. So it's very valuable when the community assimilates collectively the values and people start to generate this reflection on personal basis.
Yeah, I totally agree, Lorenza. When the community participates, everything is much easier because, as I said, it's a change in culture. So to stop remediating things and dealing with the problems, to deal with something more positive like skills and with the participation of everyone. And the teachers, when they see Diga, they think, oh, it's one other thing that I'm going to have to do. And actually, it isn't. It's something that's going to make their jobs easier and better, either by not having them solve the conflict of students and also, not having to deal with conflicts all the time. And how can I say this? Even when they teach, as they learn things, the students. So it's something that when you change the culture, things become normal. You do things and you don't even think about it, right? But thank you for your comment.
Thank you, Mateus. I know we have so many things, but Diga Movimento is also being gifted. I know Diga Movimento, it's your master's thesis. Is that how you say? So I think it's going to be a great opportunity also to hear if anyone has any suggestions or any recommendation or insights, please keep on adding. It's going to be a great benefit, not just to the schools, but also for Mateus individually, for his reflections and thoughts on his thesis. So it's going to be very wonderful. So Beth, Robert, Marcelo, all the researchers here, please give him a hand. I know there is an opportunity also for you maybe to introduce and present your project into our Prosocial community. I think might be in the research aspect. So let's see how it goes, how it flows your project as well, right? We need to have all this work all together. But thank you so much. I'm gonna keep and leave a little bit of this moment. Marcelo, would you like to add anything?
Sim, eu gostaria de comentar.
Yeah, I'd like to comment possibility for us to think together about this fabric that we're weaving. We are in different contexts here in Latin America, and maybe a possible context to think together about this next step is the theme of education. So I wrote a post to Matthews, but maybe for all of us to think about the pilot experiments for new models, and we can create together things that have to do with education in Latin America. So thinking about education as a very broad thing that goes beyond schools and that may inspire us to think about a joint project that we could propose in different angles, the angle of social change, the angle of work with children and teenagers, but also the angle of research. So that's a proposal, actually. It's a proposal to start this common thinking that challenge us to bring models, experiences, and even hypotheses to test together. the education.
Thank you, Marcelo. And Adrian, please, if we talk about Latin America, do not consider yourself out of this context, please. Okay? So anytime we say that, we're always considering you as this part of as part of our team all the time. But we totally hold and embrace your part of the world as well. So please feel comfortable to let us know, and don't feel any time outside of this program and outside of this family and community, because ever since of the beginning, it was such a great privilege to be and have you together with us. And I know so much, the amount of sacrifice you're doing to keep on remaining online until this time, so late for you, but being part with your heart, with your soul, with your presence, suggestions, and aim of trying to do more things together and do something that goes beyond not just this part of the world, but also in your part of the world. That's something that we would also aspire and have that intention. So maybe next round we can have more people from your part of the world together with us, and then we can learn, exchange, and also enhance more things together. So please feel always embraced from us and by us. Don't feel that we're not including you in Latin America as well. You're totally in our group and family. I know today is being we are in this part of the world. I know this very late in a couple of and very early in other parts, but I would like not to finish today because we had just very fast, because I was talking with Beth in a very short conversation in the chat. I know, and I would like to appreciate all the ones that had already the facilitators who wrote and answered the survey, but at the same time we have a couple of that we haven't yet. So I'm gonna share. Beth, please, if you would like to say anything, let me know and open up. Or Robert.
Well, just as an overview of the survey, it's the questions are on topics like group satisfaction, this group, and trust and commitment, and your perceptions of the group functioning. It'll be really helpful for us at Prosocial World if you could do that. And also I think that you all would love to see the results as well. So of course we will share those when we get them in. And I'll hand back to you, Michelle. That's all I would like to say. Just thank you so much. You're still
Robert, would you like to add anything?
Not really. I mean, maybe I had a thought. I mean, you're all doing extraordinary work with your communities, and I wonder whether if it's of interest. I mean, when you have a look at the survey, if you want to use it for your communities, let us know, because you'll be able to capture, quite significant data in relation to the changes that you're making in the world, which would help, in your endeavors to get funding and to speak about your work. I mean, it's like, the presentations today, Matthias and Lorenza, if you had some numbers, behind it, like those that are in this survey, it would just really speak to a very, really extend the reach of your message, I guess, to different audiences. So there's a thought.
I think it's a great idea, actually, Robert, but let's just give them an opportunity to think.
Yeah.
Because this is really important. By the time you have the possibility to apply this term survey with people of your community or organization, and then you can have a lot of information for yourself, the challenges and many things that you guys had mentioned. Today was very strong to say about the challenges that we have relationships. So by the time you can use that among your team, among your group, among the soccer players, for example, the participants, also some of the school teachers that are involved, right, Mateus, in your community. And if Ceci has more people in her team, also Oscar with that had presented already in our project, it's a great and very valuable. By the time, if they do use the same web link, because we have in the 3 languages, so you can use just ask them to write about that they're answering from your Colectivo Sintrópico Barichara or Fundación Cultural Ojo del Agua o Conviver o La Jungla, porque after we can actually add and combine that information for you as an information related to your organization, okay? And then you can have an idea how is actually is the, not the quality, but the situation of how is the target of purpose-driven aspect of the first principle. How is actually decision-making processes happening for you in your organization? So this is an opportunity, but if you don't have that time or if you don't feel like it's the time to share with other communities, we're gonna ask you to answer at least one survey for your organization in the context of your organization. And I'm gonna ask, like the facilitators we already had asked, we have to have a second one that is gonna be, how is the situation of this group, of this collective? What is the aspect you can see of this context here, which you are having in the meetings? So how is our purpose-driven aspect? How is actually our decision-making process? How is the process that we're gonna see in the survey, but related to this group? When you are talking about this group, you can just say that is part of TWCF project. Oh, which is the organization, TWCF project? Is that clear? Any questions?
I think that's great.
I need to wait for the translation, I know. Every time when I keep thinking, I feel like I'm not sure if they're understanding me, but then I know I need just to wait. Is it okay? No.
It's
Thank
okay.
you. Thank you. Good. Adrian, is it good for you too? So I shared here the link of Google. So every time you can have your own report. And the second one is our group, TWCF Dialogue Ecosystem Group. All right?
Excellent.
Good.
Yes, thank you for explaining that, Michelle. That was perfect. That was perfect. Thank you so much, all of you. Yes.
Thank you. I'll do that to you too, Oscar, before leaving, but I'll add it for you for him. Okay. So tonight, I know we're a little late, and I know Adrian as well. So we're gonna do a movement today. I know we had a couple of days that we did like a drawing, a gesture. Oh, we had a movement too, but I think today we miss like having a movement. Today we're gonna have a checkout movement. Before I ask for the movement for checking out, is there anything else that is most needed to say or share, or any question that needs to come before we do our movement for checkout?
Don't think so. Let's move.
Okay. So let's see how it goes. Let's do our movement. If you wanted to stand up, you can. Oh yes, Marita, always good. Open up your cameras if you feel comfortable. Carolina and Anna, if you are there. I can do some sound with my and then we can do. So I'll do 3, 2, 1, and then we're gonna move. Okay? Okay. 3, 2, 1. This is so good. How you moved. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. We're gonna see you next week with Adrian and Helena and Ricardo with Prisma Plantai. All right? And I'll think about the check-in for next week. Thank you.
Okay.
Much
Thank you.
love.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye for now. Thank you, everybody.
See you.
Ciao.